Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 530 News on Q2, Montana's news leader.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Jeanelle. Slade. Jay is on assignment. Remington, the nation's oldest gun maker, now plans to file for bankruptcy. Financial difficulties driving the historic manufacturer to do what it can to try to keep its business afloat. Now, the financial troubles are linked to the 2012 Sandy Hook school shooting, which involved a Remington rifle. This new information from the Associated Press. Remington is also reportedly seeing a decline in demand for firearms, but Richard Barber, of Gallatin County, tells MTN News that Remington's financial woes stem from public knowledge that its products are dangerous. Barber has been speaking out for 15 years, saying a defective trigger mechanism causes the Remington bolt-action rifles to misfire. His son Gus was killed in 2000 by a Remington Model 700 that fired in this manner. Now, a lawsuit pushed the company to offer to fix defective mechanisms, but Barber's critical of that suit. He says it allows Remington to continue claiming nothing is wrong with its rifles. Remington officials say they've reached a financial deal that will allow it to keep operating while filing for bankruptcy protection. A new federal loan helps to give Montana businesses the extra boost they need to keep going. Today, Senator Jon Tester announced a $1.9 million loan to develop renewable energy systems here in Yellowstone County. This money is part of the USDA's Rural Energy for America program. It will, in part, fund the purchase and installation of a wind turbine, which will generate enough electricity to power 487 homes. Energy supplier 2 Wind, Broadview East, says it intends for the project to benefit and grow the agricultural economy in Broadview, Montana. Senator Jon Tester also has a bill on its way to the president's desk. If Trump signs it, it will guarantee basic quality standards for phone calls in rural Montana. Well, President Trump delivered his 2019 budget plans to Capitol Hill this morning. He's moving ahead with a $1.5 trillion infrastructure plan to be paid for mostly by states and local communities. Q2's Dustin Kleeman joins us now with what may be left out of that plan. Dustin.
Good evening, Jeanelle. The president's infrastructure plan includes $50 billion in funding for rural communities, hoping to cut the red tape for rebuilding bridges and roads in a public-private partnership.
This morning, I submitted legislative principles to Congress that will spur the biggest and boldest infrastructure investment in American history. We're going to have a lot of public-private, and that way it gets done on time, on budget.
There's no question Montana's aging infrastructure needs help, but the proposal does not mention broadband internet specifically, something the president has talked about the importance of expanding. The FCC estimates 39% of rural Americans do not have access to broadband. Now, as for Governor Bullock, his office sending this statement saying in part the governor has real concerns about the impact of the proposal put out today on Montana, but is hopeful folks in Washington, D.C. will actually engage with those who were out driving on the roads being talked about. Conservatives don't want to add another $1 trillion in deficit spending, and Democrats aren't likely to sign off either. The plan includes trillions of dollars worth of cuts to Medicare, Medicaid, food stamps, and other social programs. Jeanelle?
All right, thanks so much, Dustin. It appears an assault of a 52-year-old man in front of the Billings Heights Walmart on February 2nd did not happen. Billings Police Sergeant Shane Winden says a follow-up investigation finds no evidence to support the claim. Winden says the man was intoxicated and was near the Walmart to purchase cigarettes. He lost his wallet and walked home, where he told a neighbor of the alleged assault. Now, that neighbor phoned police and reported the situation, though the man did not have any injuries. It's unlikely the man will be charged with any crime, as he did not call in the assault. A Billings man appeared in court today on his 8th drunk driving charge. 55-year-old Thomas Hamill is charged with felony DUI. He has 7 prior drunk driving convictions between 1993 to 2013. Police were called Sunday night to Avenue C for a report of a drunk driver who got his vehicle stuck in the snow. Hamill's breath smelled of alcohol, and he could not keep balanced. On his way to jail, Hamill allegedly made threats to the officers before they drew his blood. Hamill's being held at the Yellowstone County Jail on $295 bond. We now know the name of the suspect shot by Billings police outside the Lazy KT Motel in October. 36-year-old Roderick Littlebear had just been released from supervision for an assault with a weapon 1 month before this incident. Court documents state Little Bear was doing well in the community until he started using methamphetamine and alcohol. Officers say they fired on Little Bear after they told him to drop his weapon, and he instead swung the shotgun in their direction. Shortly after that incident, Little Bear's probation officer asked the judge to place him back in the custody of the Department of Corrections. Little Bear violated the terms of his release by possessing a firearm. Little Bear was sentenced in January to 3 years with the DOC. Turning to weather, Bob, it was like adding insult to injury. First snow, then bitter cold.
And this morning was really bitter cold.
Yeah.
Here in the Billings area, we were bad enough. But let me show you along the highline. Take a look at some of these overnight temperatures. These aren't wind chill factors. These are the actual ambient air temperature. 21 below zero at Cupbank, 36 below at Havre. Glasgow was 30 below zero. You see 31 at Williston, North Dakota. Here in Billings, we were 5 below zero. But, you know, even as though those are cold, let me show you how cold it actually got at Malta, 38 below zero. It was a cold, cold night there. And it looks like, guess what, tonight we're expecting another cold night up along the High Line, just not as bad. It'll be in the teens and 20s below zero. Here in Billings, we're expecting to go to 6 below zero, but we're going to start warming up by midnight. We'll talk about that coming up in a few more minutes.
All right, thanks so much, Bob. Well, St. Francis Catholic School here in Billings back in session today after a weekend pipe burst and flooded several classrooms. One of the biggest concerns, water in the new gymnasium. We sent Q2 reporter Steele Stevens out to check it out. Steele.
Jeanelle, an estimated 2,000 gallons of water per minute leaked into St. Francis School for 2 hours Saturday afternoon. And while the cost of the damage is currently unknown, it will be added to the $19 million already spent to build the school. Flooding damaged the gym floor, music rooms, and instruments during the incident. I spoke with Principal Jim Stanton this afternoon, and he says there will be difficult days ahead, but he's been overwhelmed by community support.
Definitely, you know, it was a setback for our school, no question about it. People rallied, came in, we got the school in pretty good shape right now in terms of getting it dried out and just seeing what the damages will be from there. And our staff and our kids have been great about, you know, pitching in and helping and making the adjustments that are going to be made to get through the school year.
A decision on whether to repair or replace the gym floor will be made in the coming days. Jeanelle, back to you.
All right, thanks so much, Steele. Now, the new $18 million school opened this past fall, 2017. Coming up on tonight's 5:30 News, shots heard through the Billings community, and now the heartache from 29 years ago still felt today. And in sports, Rockies' Bruce Parker steps down as athletic director. Scott tells us why, and we hear from him.
You're watching MTN News with Jay Cohn and Jeanelle Slade. Storm Tracker weather with Bob McGuire and sports with Scott